It's springtime and Winnipeg home buyers are facing a very tough seller's market. How can first-time buyers get a leg up in this highly competitive environment? Let's talk with mortgage expert, my friend Mike Schroeder of Mortgage Architects, next.
You're listening to the Bo Knows Real Estate Podcast. Tips and advice for home buyers, sellers, and owners with award-winning RE/MAX agent, Bo Kaufman.
Home buyers in Winnipeg are in a very tough spot. Our spring market is normally very competitive. This is when buyers come out in large numbers and end up competing on homes and even condos. This year, they're facing two additional obstacles: lack of listings and rising interest rates. Now, normally at this time, we have around 1,200 houses on the market. This morning, we have just over 400. What's worse is that over half of them are new listings and likely to be sold in the next couple of days. Also, the headlines are shouting Bank of Canada doubles its interest rates, adding more stress to the daily routines of home buyers. Now, technically, this headline is accurate, but really, rates have only gone up 0.25%. It's not going to be the end of the world. So I thought it was high time to speak with somebody who knows mortgages, knows how to help home buyers, and can add some perspective to these issues. Let's say hello to my friend Mike Schroeder of Mortgage Architects in Winnipeg. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Hey, doing well, Bo. How about yourself?
Excellent. Listen, let's get right into it. We're trying to help buyers in this really hectic market. The first thing I heard was that the recent Bank of Canada rate, quote unquote, doubled their rates. So what does that mean? How much did it actually affect the average mortgage?
So just to be clear, the decision they made affected variable rate mortgages, not fixed rate mortgages. Okay. And what it means is that if you're in a variable mortgage, the bank has raised your interest rate by 0.25. So when they say double, they meant it went from 0.25 to 0.5. So
right.
All that means at the end of the day, and this is a very simple metric to use, for every $100,000 you've borrowed, you're going to pay an extra $16 a month, give or take. So
right.
$300,000 mortgage, your mortgage payment's going to go up by about $50 a month.
Okay. So in other words, like a quarter tank of gas.
If you can get gas for that cheap, sure. I just filled my tank yesterday. It cost me an arm and a leg.
I know. Okay, so it's not the end of the world. Does it have any real world effect on if somebody had been pre-approved for a $300,000 mortgage, how much is that going to affect them now?
Sure. So that actually has no effect at all. So there are three different rates home buyers should always be thinking about: the variable rate, the fixed rate, and the qualifying rate. Qualifying rate is sometimes called the stress test. The stress test hasn't changed in a couple of years. The stress test has not changed.
Okay, well that's right. It's interesting. I was looking at the actual rate, but if you're pre-approved, the stress test is much higher anyway. So and that hasn't changed at all.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. So for me personally, I love buyers when they can put more than 5% down. Are there any tricks that you can think of how buyers can get a little bit extra money, like gifts or borrow, or how can they get more than 5% down?
Sure. So there's a couple kind of key ways to think about. So number one, you can get a gift from a family member. So that's a great way to increase the amount of down payment you have. Something most people don't know is that you actually may be able to borrow more down payment. So for example, if you have a 5% down payment in the bank, you may be able to put on, say, a line of credit, say another 5%, and now you're putting down 10% or even 15, maybe even 20%. So you can borrow some of that too. Another way, of course, is by contributing to your Rrsps. And so anything your Rrsps, you can take out penalty-free after it's sat there for 90 days. So if you're a home buyer now and you want to buy a home in the fall, dump some extra cash into your Rrsp, start investing there, and you can save up a bigger down payment that way.
Right, and take it out in the fall.
Exactly. It just has to sit there for 90 days. So.
Okay. Earlier you mentioned like the different rates are the variable and the locked-in rate. Do you have any preferences as to what people should be getting, locked in or leave it open?
Well, the big question is this. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is the likelihood of you moving in the next 5 years? So the statistics we see is that usually about 65% of home buyers end up breaking their mortgage before the 5 years is up. If you leave early, you're going to get a penalty. Variable, it's going to be a small penalty. Fixed rate, it's going to be a big penalty. So if you decide you want the stability of locking it in, just know you are making a 5-year commitment to that house. And if you really want to take it one step further, ask your mortgage broker about 2 or 3 year fixed rates. You can lock it in, usually at a lower rate than the 5 year. It lets you get out early at no penalty, kind of gives you the best of both worlds.
Good point. Great point. Any tips that you can give to buyers that make their offers stand out?
One thing I've seen is that a lot of people don't have access to cash or a big enough deposit. Often their money for down payments either sitting with a family member or sitting in a locked-in investment that's going to take some time to pull out. I would say you should have access to as much of your down payment as you can in cash. Instead of offering a $5,000 deposit, offer a $10,000 deposit. Remember, anything you're giving for a deposit is just going towards the down payment anyways. So if you have easy access to cash and you can put that in there, great. Second thing is make sure you're in constant communication with your mortgage broker. Instead of needing, say, 3 or 4 business days for financing, give us a call and say, look, I want to make my offer more enticing. Can you get me approved in a day? We can often use our relationships and to get things done faster if need be. So those are the biggest things I'd suggest: having access to more cash for a deposit, and then making sure that you're in communication with whoever you're pre-approved with, so you can get approved even faster.
Yeah, that's something that I can echo for sure, is you got to make that finance condition as short as possible. And that's where a mortgage broker can really help you out. Because if you can do it in 24 hours, that makes your offer stand out and be more attractive than if somebody needs 3 days for financing approval.
And that's having all the documents ready to go, make sure that you're ready to pull the trigger. So before you go out there house hunting, make sure you're fully pre-approved and make sure you've got your cash ready to go for that deposit. You don't want there to be any delay at all in that.
Okay, and how can buyers get a hold of you? What's the best way to get a hold of Mike?
Sure. So my email address is mortgage@mikeschroeder.ca. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram at Your Mortgage Couple. We also have a website at mikeschroeder.ca.
That sounds good. Hey, Mike, let's do this every couple of weeks or so and just kind of put out some tips for buyers in Winnipeg, because this is really a tough time for them right now.
Perfect. Sounds like a plan.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. We'll talk to you next time.
Anytime. Take care, Bo. Bye.
Are you looking to buy a house or a condo in Winnipeg? Work with the agent who takes the time to explain the process to you, guiding you through every step. For service beyond the sale, book your home buying consultation with Bo Kaufman of Remax Performance today. Bo knows real estate.
Well, I hope you found this information helpful. If you did, and if you enjoyed it, why don't you download my free podcasting app? It's really easy. Just go to boknows.homes/apps, APPS, and you'll find the iOS and Android app download link right there. Till next time, bye-bye.
You've been listening to Bo Kaufman of Remax Performance Realty. Are you thinking of buying or selling a house or a condo in Winnipeg? Call Bo at 204-333-2202. Remember, Bo knows real estate.